Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the annual Student Government Association Executive Board debate. Tonight, you will get an opportunity to learn more about the Executive Board candidates and their platforms and plans for the 2026-2027 academic year. Before we dive into the debate portion of the evening, I want to introduce myself. My name is Miranda Patorti, the President and News Director for Q30 Television, and I am joined alongside
Alyssa DeWitt, the Vice President for Operations of the Student Government Association and the Chair of the Election Committee. We're excited to moderate this debate. If you haven't already, feel free to grab some Haven Hot Chicken quietly and enter the raffle for a pair of AirPod 4s. Make sure to stay for the whole event because we'll be choosing the winner at the end.
For some ground rules for the debate, each candidate will get 2 minutes to make an opening speech. Then Alyssa and I are going to ask each of the candidates a total of 4 questions. They will have 90 seconds to respond to each question. Please make sure to answer the question asked of you directly. After all questions are asked, each candidate will get 1 minute to make a closing speech. We will move through the positions in reverse order of succession, starting with the Vice President for Public Relations. The candidate for this position is Mia Gonzalez. Mia, please come up to the podium.
The Vice President for Public Relations is responsible for SGA's communication efforts, which includes creating mass communications and making social media posts. Additionally, they are responsible for promoting the work of SGA members, coordinating community service projects and outreach efforts, and ensuring the professional behavior of members. Mia, you may begin your 2-minute statement now.
Hi everyone, my name is Mia Gonzalez, and I want to start by thanking Q30 and the Election Committee for hosting this event tonight. I have the pleasure of being a part of the Student Government Association for the past 2 years as a senator, and during that time, I also served for the Public Relations Committee. Through those experiences, I've been able to see firsthand how important communication is in connecting SGA with the student body. I've worked behind the scenes to help share updates, Bobcat Fridays, and make sure students are informed about what happens on campus. Those experiences has shown me how powerful, clear, and consistent communication could be. But they've also shown me where we can improve. Student government shouldn't feel distant, unfamiliar. It should feel something that we're a part of. Right now, a lot of students don't feel connected to SGA. I want to change that by focusing on engagement, energy, and making SGA more open and welcoming to everyone. If elected, my goal is to make SGA something that you don't just hear about, but something you experience. I want to create more interactive posts, highlight student voices. Public relations should be something exciting, creative, and reflective of the student body, not just informative. I also want to make SGA more approachable. That means breaking down barriers between students and their representatives, creating spaces where people feel comfortable sharing ideas, and making sure engagement goes beyond just a post or an announcement. Whether it goes through events, social medias, or everyday interactions. I want students to feel like SGA is for them. Community is building through connections. When people feel seen, heard, and included, that's when real engagement happens. That's the kind of environment I want to help create, where the students feel proud to be involved and excited to participate.
For your first question, Mia, one way SGA ensures transparency is working with student media. What strategies will you implement to foster a collaborative relationship with media outlets to ensure information is communicated accurately and transparently?
Thank you for that question. Yes, I think student media is very important on campus, especially with the Chronicle and Q30, as it spreads so much information to the student bodies to understand what's happening on this campus. So I think a great relationship with that, like giving them a heads up that we have meetings with special guest speakers that could be important to inform the student bodies. And then I also thought about to also highlight for student bodies to know what SGA is doing, to have an SGA spotlight so they could also be informed what SGA is doing internally.
Could you please highlight a past project or responsibility where you demonstrated the core competencies required for this position?
Yes, so a big thing of PR is throwing events for students to feel, to engage with them. And a big one that we threw this year was Spa Day, because we want to focus on the mental health of students to make sure that they're ready for midterms. So I did that with a fellow committee member, and we went through some gifts that they would like to make with a gift bag that they could go grab in and just make sure that they feel supported. And we also had affirmation cards for them.
SGA utilizes social media to advertise itself as well as keep students informed about serious matters. What is your strategy for maintaining high audience engagement while ensuring serious campus updates receive the gravity they deserve?
Thank you for that question. I thought about, we do a thing called Legend of the Week, if you guys don't know. And I think it's a very important thing because it highlights what a senator has done that week in their hard work and initiative. So I thought about social media of making an SGA Spotlight or Legend of the Week and explaining why they got that award, because a lot of our members do go through all of that work and a lot of people don't understand the hard work that most of our members do.
You now have 1 minute to make your closing statement.
I'm running for Vice President of Public Relations because I truly believe SGA can be more engaging, more inclusive, and more connecting to every single student on this campus. I don't want SGA to feel like something separated. I want it to feel like something you're a part of. If I'm elected, I will focus on bringing energy, creativity, and openness into everything we do so that more students feel welcomed, involved, and excited to engage. This is about building a community where your voice matters and your presence is valued. Thank you for your time, and I hope I can count on your support.
The Vice President for Student Experience is responsible for promoting inclusive excellence within SGA and at Quinnipiac, assisting student organizations through the chartering process and advocating for the co-curricular engagement of students. Additionally, they are responsible for acting as a liaison and resource for student organizations and providing co-sponsorship opportunities with other groups. Lexi, you may begin your 2-minute statement now.
Hi guys, my name is Lexi Pleasant, and I'm running for Vice President for Student Experience. I'm a sophomore criminal justice and law and society double major. I've been on SGA for 2 years, but being on SGA isn't the only way it's shown me how to be a leader. This past summer, I was an orientation leader, and this summer I am as well. I'm also on the mock trial team, and I also work for the Quinnipiac Polling Institute as well as the orientation operations assistant. I've been on student government for 2 years now. In my first year as a first-year class senator. Currently, I'm a sophomore class senator. In the past, I worked on getting bigger trash bins, more dietary-friendly options, and Cafe Q, and I'm currently working on getting a therapy dog at Quinnipiac with the student Emma Corden. I also go to the Dining Advisory Board meetings where I bring student concerns to admin. I learned, in my time at SGA, I've been on the Experience Committee for the 2 years. Being on this committee, I learned how to work with student leaders, how to support different groups, and how to organize different events like Talks on the Rocks and the large-scale inclusivity event. I hope to continue to advocate for students, to connect with our community, and promote inclusivity for all if I'm elected.
For your first question, how have you historically promoted a sense of community for underrepresented students, and what is your vision for expanding those efforts within SGA?
Thank you. Starting off this year, I've talked to many different students with concerns about safety, food, and community building. While petitioning for my initiative and filling out my signature sheet and campaigning for this role, I talked to many different students about projects we can work at Quinnipiac. I brought those ideas to my cabinet to see what we could do to help the students. Being a part of the Dining Advisory Board has helped me bring those different perspectives to them and see how we can help with issues like regarding food and issues with allergies. As well as I brought those different problems to the Dining Advisory Board where they've been able to fix those issues and those criticisms and improve the dining experience at Quinnipiac. Also with my current initiative, I'm working on a student with Emma and to get a therapy dog at Quinnipiac. This initiative I'm using to bring a sense of community to Quinnipiac and to help with mental health crisis and to be there for students who need something that feels like home. In this role, I do hope to work with people in student government and outside of student government to improve our campus.
Inclusive excellence is core to the role of VPX. In what ways will you innovate our current diversity frameworks to ensure inclusivity is felt both within our internal SGA culture and across the broader student body?
Thank you. To promote and increase inclusivity, I plan to expand the large-scale inclusivity event, which this year was a huge success, but I do want to include more student organizations to reflect a wider range of cultures, identities, and experiences. I also want to reach out to different multicultural groups to come to me and my committee for support. I also want to work with the Office of Inclusive Excellence to do different co-sponsorships with organizations that are chartered or not chartered. I'd want to do more frequent ones, and I'd also want to ensure that inclusivity isn't just fun events, but it's also everyday practices. To me, this means working with organizations to help clubs feel supported, representative, and more involved in the process that we do in our Experience Committee. To do this, I'd want, for those organizations, they can come to our committee and fill out a form. However, I'd want them to speak directly to us to see what their events are all about and how we can actually support them directly face to face.
Given the current challenges facing identity-based organizations, what tangible resources or communication channels will you open to ensure their needs are prioritized at the administration level?
To help them, I would want them to let them know I'm here as a resource and that we'll hold office hours. I just want them to know that our office will be open to all. I want to reach out to all orgs, no matter what identity, if they're chartered or not, or what they're all about, to let them know what the Experience Committee does and how we can actually help them. I would also want them to know if they're an identity org, they want to be chartered, what that process is like, and about that constitution review so they can get that sped up. I'd also want them to know where they can find the co-sponsorship forms and how to do that. So if they need that support, whether it be financially, promotion, or just us there, they can do that.
For your last question, the VPX manages a wide range of co-sponsorships. How will you identify and cultivate meaningful collaboration with student organizations that haven't traditionally looked to SGA for support?
Thank you. For those who haven't looked to us, I would just want to promote that we are here and that we are open to any new ideas, events, whether they're chartered or not. I want them to know that we'd be working directly with the Office of Inclusive Excellence, and we would be able to help them with a co-sponsorship. Yes, that's it.
You now have 1 minute to make your closing statement.
Okay. The current Vice President for Student Experience has done an incredible job in this role. And I want to build upon what she has worked on by making sure all clubs and organizations, whether they're chartered or not, feel supported. I want to create a stronger sense of belonging by increasing outreach to organizations on what should be done differently and internally, as well as expanding inclusivity efforts by working directly with the Office of Inclusive Excellence and building more resources for students to access. I'm committed to advocating for all students, strengthening our campus connections, and creating more inclusive and engaging community. My goal is simple. I want to make sure every student feels seen, heard, and valued at Quinnipiac. And I'd also like to thank Election Committee and Q30 for being here. Thank you.
Now moving on to the position of Vice President for Operations. The candidate for this position is Morgan Shearer. Morgan, please come up to the podium.
The Vice President for Operations is responsible for conducting campus-wide elections and filling vacant SGA seats, as well as offering professional development opportunities to SGA members once elected. Additionally, they are responsible for overseeing the SGA operating budget, which is used to fund all of the chartered student organizations. Morgan, you may begin your 2-minute statement now.
Hi everyone, I hope you're having a good evening. My name is Morgan Shearer and I'm running for Vice President of Operations. My goal in this role is to make an environment where everyone feels seen and heard on all their ideas. Through my role, I will oversee all internal budgets, run the budgeting process for all student organizations on campus, and make sure that all funds are allocated efficiently to maximize the student experience all around. Every dollar that is used comes from the students, and I want to make sure it directly is benefiting students. Over the past 2 years, serving in different roles on SGA, I have been on Operations Committee since the beginning. I have been able to see firsthand how all budgeting processes work. I've seen what has been effective and areas we can improve on. I want to take what I learned from all the VPOs that came before me and apply it directly to this role. My goal is to make the system as transparent as possible, more efficient, and supportive for all student organizations. Another key role for this position is leading Election Committee, to make sure elections are run fair and accessible to all students, which is something I'm excited to be involved in and get incoming students interested in this amazing opportunity. If I'm elected, I'll focus on transparency, efficiency, and accountability. I want students to understand how funding and budget weekend works, make processes easier and more effective, and make sure we as an organization follow through with everything we say. SGA exists to represent students and improve their experiences on campus, and I want to make sure that in my role, I will do that.
How will you streamline the flow of information between SGA and student organizations to reduce confusion and increase transparency?
I feel like a big thing that we use is Outlook. Obviously, everyone has access to their email. This past year, getting to work with the VPO, she started a process where we are emailing them leading up to budget weekend consistently to make sure that they're understanding. And I feel like I'm gonna want to have an open door policy for anyone that has any questions and let them know that they can always come in if they ever need.
How will you collaborate with Org Finance to improve finance processes in order to make them more user-friendly for new student treasurers?
Yes. I feel like the budget process can be very overwhelming and complicated for a lot of people. There's a lot into like filling out files and getting items and all that stuff put together. As a person that works with the org finance team, I want to be able to ensure that we're communicating effectively and want students to understand their role. Since working on this committee over the last 2 years, I feel we've implemented a lot of positive ways to go about budgeting and budget weekend. So I'm hoping that we can continue to hold office hours when reviewing budgets and working with student organizations of how to submit budgets on Bobcat Central so it can work better for the org finance team.
In recent years, there has been an influx of chartered organizations, and with this, more difficulty equitably allocating funding each semester. How do you plan to accommodate the growing number of requests?
Yes, thank you. As the number of organizations continue to grow on campus, it is important that the funding grows with it, to be fair and impactful for all students on campus. So the purpose for having a finance process for all these orgs is to allocate funds to maximize the student experience. So I would want to show administration why more money is needed, not just asking them. I would highlight how funding directly impacts student engagement and see if there are any sustainable solutions. If I get to serve as VPRO, I'll make sure the current funds we do have are being used efficiently.
One of the primary responsibilities of the Vice President for Operations is running campus-wide elections each semester. What recruitment and outreach strategies will you implement to ensure a diverse and competitive candidate pool for all representative seats?
To make elections more competitive, the focus should be increasing awareness of elections and accessibility for everybody on campus. I feel like sometimes that can get lost because this is very intimidating, but it's definitely not. I've met some of my best friends, and I would expand the outreach using VP of PR to show students that there are opportunities for them in SGA. I would also want to make the election process more approachable for all students, as I said, especially for first-time candidates in the fall. I really want them to understand that this is a place that they're welcome at, and even if they don't want to run, they can still come with all their ideas, and we're always here to listen. Thank you all for allowing me to come up here and speak. Overall, the role of Vice President of Operations is the backbone to this organization and how it actually runs. This role isn't just about budgets and meetings, it's about making sure that all student organizations on campus can have their ideas come to life and fuel all their events. Coming in the fall, I make sure to run a fair election for all students wanting to run for open positions and new students who want to be involved in this organization. Being able to serve on the Operations Committee the last 2 years, I have built a strong understanding of how the system and role works. I have seen areas where we were successful, where we might have had some bumps in the roads, and areas we can improve in. I can thank the 2 VPOs I worked with so far while being in this organization and have learned a lot how to be effective in this role. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Morgan. Now moving on to the position of Vice President. The candidate for this position is Savannah Diddley. Savannah, please come up to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. First, I would like to thank everyone for being here, and especially Q30. I'd like to begin by introducing myself. My name is Savannah Diddley, and I am a Health Medicine Society major on the pre-med track. I am from Torrington, Connecticut, and I'm currently a sophomore. This year, I made it a priority to become more involved on campus, whether that means attending events, meeting new people, or connecting with different organizations when I can. Next year, I will also be serving as an orientation leader, where I'll have the opportunity to welcome the next incoming class. I chose Quinnipiac University because this campus truly feels like a family. On every campus I visited, I never felt more seen and supported as I do here. Because of that, I want to be a representative and advocate for both the current and future generations of Quinnipiac. As Vice President, I want every student to feel comfortable approaching me with concerns, ideas, or issues on campus. Whether it can be solved through an initiative or simply by making sure their voice is heard, over the past year, I have proudly served in SGA on the Student Advocacy Committee, overseen by the Vice President, where I helped plan multiple town halls, State of the Union, and just outreached. Through this experience, I've learned so much about this responsibility of the role, and I've worked to be a dependable right-hand woman to the current Vice President. Thank you.
For your first question, the Vice President's main priority is to oversee initiative and advocacy work. How do you plan to navigate the unique needs of different initiatives while implementing a process for members to follow?
Thank you for that question. I plan to approach this role through organization. Thank you for that question. I plan to approach this role through organization, communication, and accountability. First, I would keep a clear and organized record of the work each senator is doing, including staying up to date with weekly Trello boards and initiative processes. This ensures that no projects fall behind and every senator has the support they need to succeed. Second, I would make it a priority to check in with each senator personally by a bi-weekly basis or more often if needed. Regular communication is important to senators so they feel supported and heard and able to overcome any challenges they may face. Lastly, I would work to maintain a strong communication between senators, advisors, and administration. By working closely with advisors, I can help ensure concerns and initiatives communicating effectively, especially if responses from admin is delayed. My goal would be to create a smooth and supportive system where advocacy work can move forward effectively, and students' voices are always represented. Thank you.
Beyond traditional surveys, how do you plan to collect feedback from students regarding initiative work, and in what ways will you communicate the progress being made on the feedback you receive?
Thank you. I would focus on making student feedback more consistent, accessible, and visible. One idea I would implement is sending out a survey during the second week of the semester to learn what students would like to be improved on campus and what concerns they have early on. In addition to that, I would continue semesterly surveys to gather feedback on ongoing initiatives and measure whether students feel progress is being made. I also believe in the importance of in-person outreach. During student advocacy committees, we do have this, we do weekly updates on initiatives, and instead of just doing that, I feel like as a committee, we should go out and touch base to the student body. So whether it's tabling or all of us senators go up to people and are like, what do you want changed on campus? Because I feel like a lot of people do have ideas and don't know who to go to, so let's go to them.
What internal benchmarks for reporting structures will you implement to ensure both yourself and your team are meeting advocacy deadlines?
Thank you. I plan on treating this position with serious and commitment. So I want to touch base with senators as if I was the one being talked to. For example, I expect dedication, professionalism, and follow-through from others, so I must demonstrate those same qualities myself. So I would plan on going and touch base with people personally, and if they need more assistance than I can implement, I would try to reach out to executive boards, and if I can't, or the executive boards can't help either, then I would go to advisors as needed.
What plans do you have to gauge student concerns and leverage SGA relationships with administration to conduct relevant and effective town halls?
Yes, thank you for that question. So like I said before, I do plan on being more outreaching with everyone on campus. So I do want to have a one-on-one relationship with admin on this campus. I've talked briefly to them, whether it's through initiative updates, but I do want to have it in person with each admin on campus, as well as advisors. So if senators come to me with problems and they can't really reach out to them, I do plan on reaching out to an advisor, and if I can't get the advisor to help with that, then there's bigger problems at hand. So I do plan on reaching out to students and seeing what things that need to be changed on campus. So hopefully those will be based on this town halls.
Thank you, Savannah. You will now have 1 minute to make your closing statement.
Great. In closing, I want to thank you, everyone, again for taking the time to be here tonight and listening to my vision for this role. The Student Government Association should be built on advocacy, transparency, and genuine connection with students. I am running for vice president because I care deeply about this campus and people, and I feel like it's my home. I want every student to know their voice matters, their concerns deserve to be heard, and their ideas can create real change. I'm ready to bring organization, dedication, and passion to this position, while working every day to improve the student's experience for all students. I'm committed to be approachable, dependable, and strong advocate for our community. I'd be honored to earn your support and hope this opportunity to serve you as the next vice president. Although I might seem nervous up here, I'm not nervous to take on this role. Thank you.
Thank you, Savannah. Now moving on to the position of president. The candidate for this position is Josh Parr. Josh, please come up to the podium.
The president is responsible for advocating for student wants, needs, and interests to administrators and the Board of Trustees. Additionally, they are responsible for coordinating the allocation of SGA's capital funds, overseeing cabinet chairs, the rest of the executive board, and training SGA members. Josh, you may begin your 2-minute statement now.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'd like to start off by thanking SGA and Q30 for hosting this tonight. It's a lot of hard work. My name is Joshua Parr, and I'm your candidate for SGA President. I'm excited to be here today to tell you a bit more about myself and what I hope to achieve with this position. I'm a history major, and I hope to become a teacher one day. The opportunity to have a classroom full of students with potential makes me hopeful for a future both at Quinnipiac and beyond. The past year of hard work I put into SGA has helped turn me into who I am, and I truly believe that I have what it takes to lead us into the next school year. I've had the opportunity to work as a senator, the historian, and the chair of the parking working group for the student government, and I want to use the skills that I've learned from these roles to create a better and more enjoyable Quinnipiac for every student. I have a few main goals for my time in office, which I'll explore later when I'm asked questions, and to summarize them, I hope to strengthen SGA's bond with students, create more opportunities for students to become directly involved with creating change without necessarily being a member of SGA, and I want to work towards a transparent, student-facing budget for a better understanding of where our tuition is being invested. I'm excited to be here tonight, and thank you for having me.
For your first question, Josh, what do you see as the top priority for students today, and what specific steps would you take to lead the charge on it?
Thank you. I'd say in the current moment, I think one of the biggest issues we're facing is the current Title IX issues that we're having. I've had the opportunity to speak with a representative from Women Empowered, and I really enjoyed what I was able to say to her and what she was able to tell me. Something I want to focus on with my administration is being able to take student feedback and really put it through every single channel that I can to get immense feedback on it and work that way so that we can see exactly what every student who I'll be representing would want. Title IX is something super serious and something that I really want to address. We'll see where it goes forward in the future, but I hope to be able to work with students primarily and bring everything that I find with every single student that I work with, no matter what race, gender, creed, ethnicity, et cetera, and be able to bring that forward and get a resolution or get some sort of closure on the issues especially that have been impacting individual students.
The SGA capital expenditures process has a significant daily impact on the student experience. How would you evaluate the historical management of these funds, and what specific procedural improvements do you propose?
One of the specific uses I can think of is JP Donato using them for water stations, which I think was a great use of them. The extent of the use, I think it's a little underutilized. Personally, I'm not exactly up to date, but I want to speak with Zach and I want to speak with JP and Jake Cedor, former presidents who I'm very close with, and understand better what they've had the opportunity to use those funds for, and also get an idea for what students might want me to use those funds for. They're used traditionally for infrastructure that will be used long-term by the university and students in general. And so pursuing everyday needs, like more water stations, I've heard stories that some water stations on York Hill have been ripped out of the walls, something I've heard, but exploring things like that to move on and create better infrastructure for the whole school. Thank you.
This question was asked to the candidate for Vice President for Public Relations previously. How do you intend to bridge the gap between student perception and SGA's actual impact on campus?
So, obviously this question was asked to the VPPR, and I want to work closely with Mia to strengthen the amount of students and create more opportunities for us to advertise the general board and any other open meetings that we can have in student government. I think it's important that students really get in the doors and really make their way to our meetings, because if we don't have students, what do we have? You know, you're our constituents, we're who we need to hear from. So working with PR, working with every single member of the cabinet to make sure that we have adequate student feedback. Thank you.
What is your strategy for effectively advocating for student interests while maintaining a productive and collaborative relationship with the university administration?
I've made a lot of relationships with administration so far in my time at SGA, and something I can say is that I think students deserve the opportunity. I'm a liaison, or I will serve as a liaison, but students also need to have that opportunity to directly see what they want being said to those administrators. And so creating more transparent lines of communication through, could you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
opportunities for effectively advocating for student interests while maintaining a productive and collaborative relationship with the university administration.
Yeah, creating more productive lines of communication for students to effectively communicate with administration, and being able to serve personally as that liaison between those, and creating super strong relationships with every single student through open door policy, like all of the rest of the people up here tonight have said. We really want to be able to open our doors, open our ears and our hearts and our minds to what every single student wants on this campus.
Thank you, Josh. You will now have 1 minute to make your closing statement.
All right. I want to end by bringing this back to what SGA should be at its core. It should be a bridge, not a barrier, not a group that feels distant or out of reach, but something that every student feels like they can be a part of, whether that's through conversations, ideas, or real involvement in change. That's the kind of SGA that I am running to build. One where your concerns don't sit inside of a suggestion box, but actually make it into the rooms where decisions are being made. One where transparency isn't something we talk about, but something that you can actually see and understand. And one where being a leader on this campus doesn't require a title, just a voice. Everything I've done this past year has been listening first and then acting. That is not going to change. I'm not here to promise everything. I'm here to promise some stuff. But I'm here to work with you, represent you, and make sure that this campus feels like it's moving forward together. If you want an SGA that's more open, more connected, and more accountable, I'd really appreciate your support. I'm sorry for the comment that I made in the previous question, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Josh. You may take your seat. And thank you all for coming out tonight. We hope you got a chance to learn more about each of the candidates and their platforms. Another thanks to you, everyone on the Executive Board candidates for participating tonight.
Also, a huge thank you to Q30 TV for partnering with us on this great event. Make sure to cast your vote tomorrow between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. on Bobcat Central. You'll get about 4 emails from us, so don't forget to check your email. All undergraduate students will be able to vote. And if you have any questions, feel free to stop by at the election committee table outside of the Carl Hansen Student Center.